You think every quarterback competition's been settled? Think again. Michael Penix healthy enough for 11 on 11s. What does it mean for Tua? We have the latest. Plus, it's week 3 of the preseason, and it's an opportunity for players to make their case. The details around a few guys who absolutely need to lock in. And we got a draft primer for you. Wide receivers you absolutely need to target. Our expert makes the case for some names you know and the ones you aren't even thinking about. It is a brand new edition of the NFL Report. I'm Mike Yam. There is so much news to get to. We got some key injuries, not to mention a dramatic change for the Pro Bowl. Trust me, it is probably good news for all NFL fans. Those details still to come. But our latest headlines and our top story, we got you covered right now. I know we've all been watching the Seattle Seahawks on Hard Knocks. We got some news around the Super Bowl champs. Fresh off of winning the sport's biggest game, they got a new owner. NFL owners voting unanimously to approve the $9.612 billion sale of the franchise from Paul Allen's estate to a group led by San Francisco 49ers limited partner Vinod Khosla.
How often do you get to buy a franchise that just won the Super Bowl? So we are incredibly lucky and humbled by this gift, I would say, from the Allen Trust. And of course, having been to Lumen Field and watching the 12s everywhere, I do want to thank them for their passion and fervor. And the community in Seattle is incredibly valuable. So we hope we'll engage a lot more with the community also. The task ahead is actually pretty simple. Keep the winning streak alive, get another Super Bowl. That's simple.
Feels like that's a good way to look over taking over a franchise. Let's just run it back, right? Judy Battista putting this out on social media. Significant news. NFL and the NFLPA focused on discipline violations that affect player health. And these are these categories: hip drop tackle, the horse tackle, launching, hit on defensive players, and the blind side block. Any player who commits 3 of the 5 offenses during the season, a 1-game suspension. NFL Executive Football Operations Troy Vincent saying this is a 1-year trial. Obviously, health and safety of the players paramount from a league perspective. Meanwhile, Tucker Kraft returning from an ACL that he suffered last season. The dude, well, he was rolling. 32 catches, 489 yards, and 6 touchdowns in just 8 games. He's entering the final year of his rookie deal, and he's back practicing. Their general manager, Brian Gutekunst, was actually asked about Kraft getting a new contract.
Tuck handles himself exactly how we want him. He always has. He's a competitor. It's important to him. We've always had a lot of faith in that he's going to do those kind of things. We would love to have that done. Again, these things are complicated at times, but we know Tuck's obviously going to be here, and that's very important to us. Whether we're able to accomplish that before the beginning of the season or not, we'll see. But it's very important to me. I think it's imagine it's important to the player. But these things take time, and sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But we're excited what Tuck's going to do for us this year.
Expectations certainly sky high for him. Still no starter named in Atlanta by Kevin Stefanski. Here's where we sit. Michael Penix continues to progress off the ACL. He is not going to play in Friday's preseason finale against the Dolphins. Tua gets a start. Cooper Rush will come in second, and your rookie Jack Strand will come in third to close out that game. Here's Penix.
I feel great. Like right now, I got cleared to do 11 on 11 for practice. Obviously, but each and every day I'm getting better, getting more confident. I'm not playing this week because, obviously I only had 3 practices under my belt under doing 11 on 11 stuff. But I've been feeling really good. And, as long as I keep the track that I'm on, I definitely feel like I will be where I need to be mentally and physically, to feel confident enough to go out there in week 1. And, as far as, being healthy and all that, I feel good. So.
This competition's still open. Meanwhile, the Carolina Panthers joint practice with the Houston Texans today. Bryce Young, a forgettable day. Sacked 4 times, threw 2 picks against maybe the league's top defense. He is not going to play Friday in the preseason matchup, and maybe that's not the worst thing in the world.
It's not I wouldn't say frustration. It's not angry about the circumstance situation. It's us not, performing at a level we want to. I look in the mirror, we all look in the mirror, and again, a day like this, you got to grow from it. But again, we're excited for that process. I'm excited to be able to do that with this group. There's no other 10 out there I want to be out there with in our whole unit. Whoever's out there, there's no one I'd rather be out there with. So it sucks to have a day where you don't feel like you produce very well, but it's a great learning opportunity. That's what these training camp practices are for.
Carolina fans, remember, in the clutch moments, we've seen Bryce Young deliver. Jags, they finished the 2025 season with 8 consecutive wins. In that span, we got Clemson, Trevor, out there. Lawrence and that unit scoring almost 34 points per game. That led the NFL in that time frame, and there's a lot he likes heading into the season.
The physicality that we've played with the last 2 weeks, moving people in the run game, protecting, and then obviously we have playmakers outside that can go and make plays, and I can get it to them. But it all starts up front, and I think those guys have done a good job of owning that. And we got to continue to buy into that, because that's really what it's about, really on both sides of the ball, but especially on offense up front. Those guys just having that edge, and they've done a great job of it. We just got to keep working it. I think we found out what we need to get better at also through training camp, and some of the details, the attention to detail. Whether it's formations, motions, different checks, just being ready for everything. Our whole operation just needs to continue to sharpen and refine.
Year 2 for Trevor with Liam Combs. That was a good marriage last year. We got some joint practices, Ravens and Commanders, 2 of the league's best, and Jaden Daniels coming off an injury-plagued season. We got a new era for Lamar Jackson. Jesse Minter now takes over. How's the offense looking? Well, we heard from the 2-time MVP.
I feel like we play better against competition, because our guys, they see us each and every day, and they pretty much get familiar with our schemes and stuff like that, and it makes it harder for us to complete the ball, make certain runs and stuff like that. But going against another opponent, they don't know what we can do.
Where are you with Declan's offense? Are you able to just read and react, or you still got to think and still learning your way through?
I'm gonna have to think regardless. That's the quarterback position. It's all about thinking. So not just this offense. Just each and every play, even when the season comes. But I feel like I'm great. I'm in a great place with the offense right now.
When he's thinking, he's usually pretty effective, but my Lord, when he's reacting, Lamar Jackson is special. Trevor Sikkema, one of the hosts, will be hanging out a little bit later every Wednesday. In fact, the NFL Fantasy Football Show on the NFL Channel, 7:30. So it's coming up in just a couple minutes. We got the double dip. We'll ditch the jackets here for that show, but because we have the jackets on, we'll keep this formal. Lamar Jackson, expectations. You're number 1 with Declan Doyle as his OC. Can this guy bounce back from a subpar season?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially because when you look at the 3 games in which Lamar played before he had the hamstring injury in week 4, he looked like the Lamar Jackson that we always expect for him to be, right? He had 9 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 240 passing yards per game. And then when you look at the adjusted yards per attempt, he was double digits in every single pass attempt in those 3 games. The entire rest of the season, he only had 4 games where that was the case. So you knew that the injury was just the thing that totally plagued him throughout the year. If he is fully healthy, I'm really excited for what Lamar Jackson could be this year. Because look, in that soundbite, he talked about, hey, I'm going to have to think regardless. And I think that goes into Declan Doyle's offense, because this team was really aggressive when it came to passing the ball on first down last year. They wanted to be explosive. They wanted to set the tone. They wanted to set up those 3rd and 4th and shorts because, well, one thing was they were one of the most efficient teams in the NFL converting those 3rd and 4th and short situations. But to me, I love to hear that, because that means that on first down, they're going to give the ball to Lamar Jackson. It's going to be in his hands. And a lot of times I think you just say, hey, you got King Henry behind you, just hand it off. But I think that, yes, that's a good strategy. Is it always the best one? I don't know. I kind of feel as though having the ball in Lamar's hands, that's where you really want it. So to me, we could see not only the regular version of Lamar Jackson, which is pretty dang spectacular, but we could see maybe one of the most explosive versions of Lamar Jackson in this Declan Doyle offense.
Look, the Ravens have won a whole lot of football games the last couple of years because of what happens in the trenches as well. Tyler Linderbaum, their starting center, no longer rocking this uniform. They wanted him. They weren't able to keep him. He's now in Vegas with Fernando Mendoza and Kirk Cousins. Danny Pinter comes in. We had the news on the NFL Report yesterday on the IR. What does this do to the offensive line and maybe some of those run options that we could see with Derrick Henry and even Lamar?
Yeah, it is going to be really important to make sure that they nail down that center position, because one of the things that I like the most about Declan Doyle coming over is that when you look at the Ravens over the last 3 years, so when Todd Monken has been their offensive coordinator, they were progressively more and more, so 2023, 2024, and then 2025, running more outside zone concepts. They were almost at 35, 36% of their rushing attempts were those outside zone concepts. Back in 2023, it was less than 20%. It was around 15%. But when you look at that being the area where they felt like they had a lot of success last year, that's where Declan Doyle kind of comes into play here. The Bears ran the third most rushing concepts in outside zone last year. So the familiarity in the run game, I think, is huge for the confidence of Lamar Jackson, for the confidence of this overall offense, and just to make sure they can really hit the ground running from the beginning of the season. So I like that there is that continuity and that built-in chemistry there with that outside zone run game.
All right, Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, some fantasy names to keep your eye on. You and I got us everyone covered. We got a primer, by the way, on this show coming up in just a bit, so don't go anywhere, Trevor. We got some fantasy conversations still to come.
Cowboys looking to cash in the interception. Pressure, stepping up, Milton buying time, pumps, throws, got a man, Davis inside the 5 and into the end zone. Speaking of big plays, on the money, Joe Milton downfield for a touchdown strike, a 53-yard touchdown pass. Here's Milton, first and goal from the 1, quarterback keeper, QB draw, straight up the middle, and virtually untouched into the end zone.
I remember watching Joe Milton at the Combine. My God, some of the long throws that guy's got. 3 touchdowns in week 2 against Arizona. Maybe puts him in pole position for that backup job. Sam Howell, though, certainly still in the mix. And I'm thinking about what we can see in week 3 of the preseason. Just in case you're a Dallas fan, they got the Saints. And no one better to talk to you about what's going to happen in week number 3, the host of NFL Daily. By the way, if you're not following this podcast, bad job by you. This is my car transportation background.
Thank
so
you.
I hear your voice. Now I get to see you in person. Set this up for me. Week 3 of the preseason. I feel like you and I have had these conversations. Ty Simpson's a guy that you continue to focus in on.
Because I don't know what the Rams are doing with him, frankly. Having him out there with the 3rd and the 4th stringers in the second half last week. They won't declare a backup quarterback, but he's going to be playing this week. I don't expect Stetson Bennett to be there. When he's been on the field, feels like they've had training wheels on.
Yeah.
It's a lot of rollouts. It's a lot of short passes. It's not a lot of letting him dictate. And to me, that shows, despite those great numbers, maybe not the highest level of confidence. And yet I look at him and I think this is the guy that Sean McVay decided, I'm going to stake the next part of my career to. The numbers are great.
Yeah.
He can't compete to beat out Stetson Bennett to be the backup quarterback of this team. I mean, what are we doing here? Come on, let's go deliver Ty Simpson this week.
To your point, 13th overall pick, I almost feel like we shouldn't even be having this conversation. This has got to be his job at some point. The numbers, though, have been pretty strong for him. Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver, hamstring injury, this is becoming a constant theme. I want to see what this guy's capable of.
He came back to practice this week. We'll see if he makes his preseason debut, but either way, it is a great sign that he has been back out on the field. Now, look, they don't have the depth they used to have on their offense without A.J. Brown. Their second-round pick, Eli Stowers, not making an impact at all. So Mekhi Lemon is supposed to be the reliable, tough, over-the-middle receiver that Jalen Hurts can use in this new offense where he's now part of the Shanahan-McVay tree too. And those are the types of areas of the field that Mekhi Lemon wins in, but you want to see it. He basically didn't practice for all this month. I don't think it's too late. It's not going to be one of those stories where you hear after this season, oh, he never caught up. There is time for him to catch up, but it's important for him to get out there, real NFL action, because it's just going to be 2 weeks away where they want him to have a role against the Commanders. Because Dontavian Wicks, like, that's a 2, that's a 3, we'll see.
No, I think it's sort of interesting, too, because they get Cincinnati, not the only other wide receiver that we're going to be tracking. Some news, and Jamar Chase still to come here on the NFL Report. And yet, we're talking about some players we got one quarterback, we got a wide receiver. I actually thought it was fascinating because I've been keeping eyes. I think the roster for Tennessee is actually better than most people will give them credit for. And yet, off of week number 1 of the preseason, I had some concerns about Cam Ward.
Week 1, how about week 2 as well, going up against the Seahawks backups? You hate to see it, and yet the Titans are giving us a chance to watch him in the preseason, and we're seeing why they want to see more of him. I think him playing in week 3 alone tells us that they believe he needs more work. And the number one thing I see out of Cam Ward that's concerning is the decision-making process, how long it's taking for him to get to his second, to his third read. And when things were at its worst, his rookie season, that was also an issue for him. He does not look like a quarterback yet that's comfortable in this Brian Daboll offense.
I worry that he's a little shell-shocked. 55 times he was sacked last season. But Daboll's got a little pixie dust that he can kind of sprinkle on a guy like Cam Ward. By the way, if once again you're not following NFL Daily, bad job by you. We got another PSA for you. NFL.com/Felice got an opportunity to take a closer look at some of the major storylines, 10 storylines heading into week number 3 of the NFL preseason. You want to make sure you track that. I'm going to get ready to go listen to you after.
Okay, let's do it.
Meanwhile, we do have more to come here on the NFL Report. In fact, your fantasy draft, we know it is imminent. You need some direction. We got you. Trevor is back. He's got some wide receivers you may be considering and a few that you're going to want to have ready in your queue. Oh, back here on the NFL Report, this dude was an absolute game wrecker in college. If you watched him in Miami, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Adam Schefter putting this out on social media a little while ago. Their first-round pick, Ruben Baines, suffering an AC sprain, but said it's nothing serious. He is expected to be ready to rock and roll against Cincinnati in week number 1. Some cool stuff, the visuals. Sign me up for this. Arizona players participating in the iconic Green Bay Packers bike ride tradition before joint practice. The only thing that would be better if they were on mini bikes. That's just me talking. This more of a joint practice, and it's the extension of a sibling rivalry with Matt LaFleur and his brother Mike, who is now the coach of the Cardinals.
Teams go out there and compete and push each other to get better, and that's exactly what I told our team. I said, you know, the way I view it today is we're all one, and obviously the ties are pretty strong. So if I'm not rooting for the Green Bay Packers, I'm rooting for the Arizona Cardinals.
Did you guys fight a lot growing up?
No, not really. He was more of a pest. So there's a 7.5 years age difference. So picture me at 18, he's 10.5, 11. So there was not a lot of fighting going on.
Get away from me might have been the theme in the LaFleur house between the brothers. Your fantasy wide receivers by ADP, Jamar Chase, not a surprise, sitting towards the top. There's some real conversations about Puka and JSN. I'll sprinkle in a little Amon-Ra St. Brown, who could be an absolute monster. Almost surprised. Rashee Rice has been falling in some of the drafts that I've been a part of, but sitting right now in that 8th position for a little bit more of a fantasy outlook. Trevor Sikkema is back with us. And Trevor, I know in your household, you got the younger sister. You are the protector always. No fighting inside that Sikkema household. But let's focus in on some of these wide receivers, man. Who's getting drafted too low?
Okay, let's start with Jalen Waddle, who I think, obviously, he's in Denver because they paid a pretty penny to go get him. But I don't want to give away everything because we're diving really deep into this topic, specifically on the NFL Pro Show, which could come out on September 4th. But I think that this guy is the prize of Sean Payton's offense. I really do believe that. It was a couple years ago when Sean Payton first said the word, the Joker position, right? And everybody kind of freaked out about it. Ooh, it's this hybrid tight end, wide receiver, running back, somebody who Sean Payton can do everything with. I don't think he's had that type of player. And I think how much they have spread the ball out in Denver over the last couple of years has showcased that. Nobody on the offense has received a target share above 24%. But with Jalen Waddle, I think we get back to the Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Saints, Sean Payton years where both of those guys were at or above 30% of a target share. I think we're going to see Jalen Waddle on the outside, in the slot, in the backfield. I think no target and no concept is safe from Jalen Waddle being the main focus in that offense.
Can you imagine just what that duo is going to look like with Bo Nix also coming off of an injury, a real potent piece to that offense? What about Michael Wilson? Because I feel like off air, you and I talk about this kid from Stanford all the time, impressed by what we saw in an Arizona uniform as well.
You know, look, I think everybody knows Michael Wilson now, right? Wide receiver 10 in fantasy football last year. He was somebody who saved people's seasons and even won some leagues. So how in the world is he wide receiver 40 right now on an average draft position? What are we doing here? Look, I get it. It's a different look Cardinals team. They've got Jeremiah Love, who's going to get the ball now. Marvin Harrison Jr., you're hoping that he's bouncing back and is a little bit more consistent. But the way and the reason why Michael Wilson got targets last year isn't just because, he was opportunistic on what the season was. This dude's a worker. This dude's a technician. This dude is strong as can be at the catch point. He is a well-rounded receiver who is going to get his targets. I understand it's most likely not going to be near that wide receiver 10 type of output, but I sure as heck think it's going to be a lot higher than the wide receiver 40, wide receiver 45 draft position that he's currently in. This is a legit wide receiver with legit talent, and I think he's going to prove that again this year.
Yeah, that average, and you can see it on the screen, 11th round is a little bit of a head scratcher for Wilson, even if we expect some changes at that quarterback spot. We know Brissett is out there. Carson Betts obviously looked good in the Hall of Fame game. So the jury's still out, but I think both of us on the same page with him. What about Stephon Diggs? I mean, I feel like if you're a fantasy owner, my God, he's been just an absolute machine over the last couple of years.
Yeah, look, is Washington getting the Minnesota Vikings version of Stephon Diggs? No, but the important part is that they're getting a wide receiver who's entering his 13th year into the NFL. When the Brandon Ayuk situation very clearly went south and soured to where I think everybody just penciled in Brandon Ayuk as a member of the 49ers or a member of the Commanders for the longest time. Now you don't have that player, and the wide receiver room does not look like what it needs to be for this offense. But when you put Stephon Diggs in there, he's a veteran. He already understands a lot of things, like with the terminology and easier chemistry and knowing how to run every single route, knowing how to be that good player who can sit in a soft spot in zone, knowing how to get early separation against press man coverage. I think it's the veteran presence of Stephon Diggs that actually would mean more than, say, a younger wide receiver that they probably could have traded for. It's that expertise and that experience that I think is going to make Stephon Diggs much more of a mainstay in this offense and a player in this passing offense than I think a lot of people are giving him credit for.
We are just scratching the surface on this fantasy conversation. I'm looking at the clock. We're just a couple minutes away. You get to go grab a sip of water. We'll both hit the jackets. I got to get into a new studio. We got the NFL Fantasy Football Show coming up every single Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern Time. Trevor, we will see you in just a couple minutes. All right, we still got some more on the NFL report, the latest of what's going on with the NFL Pro Bowl. There's a massive change. Ooh, what about that hit? It was kind of legendary. Sean Taylor all the way back. Brian Moorman probably still feeling that body blow. The details on this year's Pro Bowl game, we got you covered next. Ooh. NFL season's almost here, and you can get 20% off an NFL Plus annual plan. With NFL Plus, stream live, local, and primetime games on mobile. With NFL Plus Premium, get NFL RedZone, catch game replays, and access to NFL Pro. Limited time offer ends September 21st. You can sign up today at plus.nfl.com. Terms and conditions apply. Time for some quick hits. Promise they'll be quick. How about this? Congratulations. Your CEO, Jeffrey Lurie of the Philadelphia Eagles, is going to get inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame. Bought the team back in 1994 for $185 million, just in case you're wondering. The estimated value, $8.3 billion, maybe more after what we saw the Seahawks go for. Just saying. Meanwhile, Adam Schefter saying the NFL has eliminated the Pro Bowl games. Wow. The focus now will shift to celebrating and honor being a Pro Bowl selection. So just for clarification purposes, you know, there's always the guys that kind of step in. No. Don't need to worry about that. If you're a Pro Bowler, you are a Pro Bowler. That's probably a good thing for NFL fans. Jamar Chase not practicing today after he banged up his left knee, was not supporting a protective gear around that knee. For what it's worth, Chase yesterday said he could have gone back to practice, but he wasn't allowed to. So just kind of signals maybe not as serious as we think. Schefter also putting this out. The Texans believe that Braden Smith has suffered a foot injury. That led to him being carted off. Keep in mind, Smith signing a 2-year, $25 million contract as an unrestricted free agent earlier this season. Obviously spent some time with the Colts and has been a guy that's been out there a whole lot. Topps debuting patches to the NFL. The NFL patch will be on the jerseys for all NFL rookies. Just in case you weren't sure if they were a first-year player, now we got some signage that says, yeah, they are one of those guys. Time for one more thing, and this is awesome from a Titans perspective. They're celebrating and honoring Chris Johnson, who just revealed recently this summer that he's suffering from ALS. So 2,000 tickets for $28 a piece. The Titans home opener against the Jets, $5 per ticket going towards the Vanderbilt ALS Research Center in honor of Chris Johnson, which is just truly awesome that is the case. Appreciate you checking out the NFL Report. Keep in mind, we're Monday through Friday, except for this week. No show the next 2 days. We will see you back here on Monday at 7 Eastern Time for a fresh edition of the NFL Report. All the news, all the injuries, and everything you need to know if you're an NFL fan, we got you covered right here.